All right. Wait for a few people to pop into the stream here, and we'll get things going. Wanted to show these off because I was able to this weekend. We'll talk about Free Comic Book Day. I was able to pick up from the publisher a couple of copies of the 2019 exclusive New York Comic Con tick issue to pair with the last remaining copies of the TMNT 98 variant. And what people don't know is that this is the secret Turtles TMNT crossover. What we did was New England Comics publishes the tick, obviously, and they commissioned this IDW cover. And I did this first, and then when New York Comic Con was coming around, they decided to do connecting covers with TMNT and the tick. So this was done first, and I never intended it to be part of a matching set. But what ended up happening was it was posed to me to do something about it, so this was what we did. The proportions are just a little bit off, and this printed darker because this was run digitally, but we tried to get the colors to match as best we could. But as you can see, these match. I'm thinking about hanging on to these until Granite State Comic Con, which is a big turtle show. I just got announced as a guest for that. That's a little bit in the early fall, so this is one of those hidden fandom things that not a lot of people know about, but these are connected. And it's like a secret Turtles tick crossover that happened back in 2019. So that was a thing. That was what we did. Tonight we're going to be working on a sketch cover. While we're doing these, we're going to talk about what happened. I'm not quite sure. It's been a busy week, so we're just going to pick one out of the pile. We have the tick, of course, Micronauts, Superman, which I always enjoy. Ivan Reyes doing some very pretty artwork. Met him a couple times, very nice person. We got a Casey Jones, which could be fun. Red Sonja attacks Mars, which my plan for this was not to do Mars attacks, but to do like Burroughs crossover. So we got the Killing Joke, we got Swamp Thing, the Phantom, Red Sonja, and of course Undersea Hero. Do we have any votes from out in the crowd yet? I only have a couple of people watching so far. Today is Wednesday, right? Yeah. I guess I just got to pick one. Drawing too much Batman lately. Maybe Casey Jones? Let's do Casey Jones. Why not? We'll have some fun with that. Probably do Casey and Raph hanging out. Now, as we know, I've been going back and using wood pencils again. It's something that I should have anticipated, but it's been a new way to discover those happy accidents while doing art, like with and I've been drawing with the side of the pencil. This is just an HB. It's a slightly nicer pencil, so this is actually a Staedtler. They're not expensive. So all right. I'm gonna just treat it like a dual bust sketch. I'm not gonna overthink it. We're gonna just relax and try to have some fun here tonight. I only got to draw Casey on one cover that I did. That was the 51 cover. Hey Marthas, I saw you message me. I'm sorry I haven't gotten back to you. I will check out those sketches you sent to me. One of the things I've noticed about going back to this type of drawing is I don't rush to detail, which is really good. I'm able to go in and just really chunk out the shapes first. And the overlaps and the foreshortening. Without getting ahead of myself, which is something I'll do. Um, But Free Comic Book Day was great. I was over at the NEC in Brockton, and we spent a good chunk of the day sketching. We had some requests of characters I don't usually draw, which is always interesting. We all escaped with our dignity. I did not have to draw Sonic the Hedgehog. I think my favorite was either the Brock Sampson or the Kermit the Frog. I thought those were both very fun, and I didn't butcher them. The Venture Brothers Tick connection is that Jackson Public worked on the Tick comics. I actually did a cover for the trade paperback collection that he worked on. And when I was in San Diego, at one point, he came by the booth and he signed the original artwork for me. I have that cover signed by myself. It's one where I actually inked I'm not going to say unused, but a Ben Edlund drawing that was not used as a cover. You see how I'm going in here with this pencil and it's just on its side? I'm getting these nice chunky lines. It's not too, what's the word, precious. We're in there, we're getting our shapes, we're figuring out where the overlaps happen for the foreshortening. We're not getting ahead of ourselves. It also gives us some ideas for line thickness as the drawing progresses. And you can start to see the forms come together as I go in and try to fix some things. I can share the other two sketch covers that I did. This was a Tick sketch cover that I did. Just I'd started it at the Free Comic Book Day, and it didn't get finished until the end, until I was at home actually. And then this is the Age of Apocalypse sketch cover I posted. I thought that Kitty Pryde's face came out well, and that forward-facing hand. I thought that came out pretty good with the foreshortening from the knuckles to the elbow up to the shoulder. I thought that was. I thought this part of the drawing right here was probably the best part of the drawing. Colossus is kind of an afterthought as far as his whole figure, but I used him to block out and create more of the composition along with. I was looking at it, and when I looked at it, I really needed. I would, if I had it, I would have used Zipatone. So this is really just a flat tone. It's not really any sort of like rendering, just to create that framing device. How's everybody else doing? We got some people watching, so that's good. We gotta raise up his collarbone a little bit just so that it matches with where everything's going. And then this arm comes forward. And the shoulder comes around like that. If we're going to get the hand here, something like that. It's a little too high up. That's okay. Oh, wow. Page 45. You're cooking. You're moving right along. That's a lot of pages. You're cooking. One of the things I rely on is that I am not an artist that traces like an image in my head. And I do kind of rely on some of those happy little accidents. Have you watched Super Mario Galaxy movie and Necklaces to All Boys, Always and Forever? No, I have not seen those. Are they good? Did you enjoy them? I've not seen any of the Mario movies since the one in the 90s with John Leguizamo and Dennis Hopper. Ancient Civilizations. This should be fun to draw. That gives you a lot of room. There's lots of ancient civilizations. So that's your theme for your figure drawing. That's a good idea. I like that one. Gotta thicken his arm up a little bit. Let me check to see. This has to come up this way because it's coming forward. He's holding it easily with one hand, so we'll make this a golf club. Nice. Yeah, I'm a little behind on the Mario movies, but glad you enjoyed it. What did I watch on Netflix? I watched with my wife the documentary, Something of Tupelo. It was about the Elvis impersonator that was accused of sending ricin to the president. Getting this muscle here. Make sure that we have both sides. Move the ribs over just a wee bit. Now the Casey Jones I grew up with had like the midriff and like the ill-fitting sweatpants with the rope. So we're gonna go with that one. I don't know if that's gonna go over with the fandom too well, but You got your channel shadow banned. Did you share some like copywritten content or something? One time I posted a video that I had done, which was a no, I haven't seen those either. Um, I watch a lot of movies, a lot of documentaries. I just saw a trailer for a new movie with it's by the same director that did Three Billboards. Looked pretty cool. Been trying to do more subtle foreshortening instead of left to right. So if you see like a pose that's kind of in between gestures, that's why. All right on. Yeah. Now, I once posted a video where I did license the music, but they flagged it. So I had to send them that code thing that the music comes with in order for them to release the lock off of it. Back when I had time to make time lapses. Oh, right on. You seem to really know a lot about those shows. You must be a big fan. That's cool. I did buy a giant pile of 75-cent comics, and I haven't been watching as much TV. I've been reading those. I can show off some of those if people are interested. They're mostly independent comics from the 80s and early 90s, part of what was considered the black and white boom of comics. People are mad about her being in a movie. That's news to me. I don't know. I know people are protective of their preferred genre fiction characters. Fandom at large, or if you refer to the collective consumers of that stuff. I don't know if I've ever seen her in a show for any prolonged periods of time. Like she showed up in Parks and Rec at one point, I think. Stranger Things Tales from 85 Toys. I don't know what that means. I still haven't watched the last season of Stranger Things. Anybody reading any good comics lately? I had seen all the other Stranger Things, so it's like one of those where it's like, oh, I'll see it eventually. Oh, okay. May I ask where you're calling from? Where you hail from, since you have different stuff than we do, it seems, from your. I'd be interested to know what your comics are like. If you have just American comics, or if you've got your own local. I don't know what country you're coming from, so lots of countries have rich, vibrant local scenes. And one of my projects in progress is actually Undersea Hero being translated into French to be released over there. So just riffing that in real quick. PH. You live in PH. I know nothing about McDonald's. I have not eaten at a McDonald's in very many years. At this point, I think we were talking about this not that long ago. I think it's like it was a road trip was the last time I ate at one. I am but a simple pencil pushing comic book guy. I'm going to have to check something. Let me just check it real quick. Tab. All right, well, here we are. Let's see if we can. There we go. I'll go back to full screen. There we go. See if we can draw this hand in a way that works for this shot. Yeah, I didn't know any of that stuff. So, do you read comics or do you just watch the films? Oh, so you're in the Philippines. Okay. Oh, greetings, faraway country. It's pretty neat. Yeah, I don't know why, but just drawing with a regular pencil lately has been fun. I've seen no Sonic movies, not a single one. It's not really something I would go to the theater, go out of my way to go see, probably. I can show you some of the comics I picked up. This one might be of interest to the viewers. This one is Miyazaki. It's a Nausicaa. One of the chapters is a chapter 2. This is drawn by Hayao Miyazaki, and this is from his manga of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, which is a delightful film if you haven't seen it. And I'm really looking forward to looking at this artwork very, very closely. It's beautiful black and white comics. Like that, it looks awesome. It's brilliant abstractions. Renegade Romance. This looked great. This is got some Trina Robbins, Colleen Doran, Jackie Estrada. Yeah. Got a great cover by Jaime Hernandez. There's Steve Leialoha. This black and white cool comics from Renegade. This one I'd never read. I'm on issue 3. It's called Libby Ellis. It's like a very cool, kick-ass lady in the future. I read it, enjoyed it, thought it was really good. Very excellent artwork. Definitely a person who's a Hernandez fan. I picked up the whole miniseries. Good Girls. This is by Carol Leigh. This is her kind of like superhero drama comedy narrative. I've never read it. I'm looking forward to it. I've got 3 or 4 issues. Picked up the first issue of Sherlock Holmes. This is a series of like novella style illustrated picto books with very, very well done artwork by Dan and David Day. And I've read other issues and I like them, and I've never found the first issue. And for 75 cents, I couldn't leave it there. There's also another Sherlock Holmes where it looked like he was fighting Dracula, so let's make it happen. This just looked bonkers. It's by Monster Comics. They put out like the King Kong book in the 80s. Vina, this was a self-published book. Just looked cool. This was an old NEC book that I'd never seen before, Rockin' Bones. Looked very fun. Slave Labor. This is like a fantasy book, but it's also satirical, so I'm interested in that. Trouble with Girls. I've never read this. Fashion in Action. This is John K. Snyder. Love his work. Wish there was more of it, so I'm going to read more of that. This looked like your classic 90s spin-off ebook, and this looks like it was a promo comic, but this was actually drawn by a guy who went on to do a bunch of like Marvel stuff and DC stuff. I forget his name. Ron Williams, yeah. Steel Pulse. I don't know. I'd never seen it. This looked cool. I flipped it open, and the art just looked excellent. Like luchador wrestling kind of thing. P. Craig Russell. Anytime I see a P. Craig Russell book that I haven't read, I pick it up. This looks like one of his operatic adaptations. And he's just brilliant. Just beautiful work. Put on some classical music and read that. More Fashion in Action. I've never seen this book before. Laundryland, Fantagraphics. Titans Sell Out. This has some Adam Hughes artwork in it. Never read that. A couple of Doom Patrol issues I didn't have. Ron Friend's Superman. I don't know why. I just felt like reading some Superman. Silver Age Titans one shot. Really good. Harrier Comics. This was a romance satire book. Harrier was a British publisher. First Prowler. What else we got here? Ghosts. This was a DC horror anthology, mystery anthology, and New York City Outlaws, which was Ken Landgraf. He did like these outlaw comics, so like nice big pile of books to read. When I read this one, it was called Starlight, and in the back there's an essay where they talk about how it was this artist's first comic book along with some sketchbook stuff. And like when you read it, I read it, I asked myself, I wonder if this is their first comic, because they can draw, but the storytelling aspect looked like it had some, first comic vibes to it. Hey, Jonathan. Yeah, never read it. But yeah, I bought a giant pile of 75-cent comic books. That was what I did. Do I read The Descendants, The Magic of Friendship? Nope, never read those. I don't consume a lot of Disney stuff, if I'm being honest. Like I don't even read much in the way of Marvel stuff like I used to. Yeah, 75 cents. I mean, 25% off. So I got a big pile. And I showed this off earlier. I think, Jonathan, you have this, but I got the super secret Tick crossover with the Ninja Turtles. I had a couple copies of this left, but I had none of these, and I'd been holding on to these. And I got 2 copies of this to go with my 2 copies of this. So, like, these are interlocking covers from New York Comic Con in 2019. And it was just like, it's the secret TMNT Tick crossover. We did this cover, and then NEC asked me to design one to interlock with it. I gave them options where it was either, the one I liked the best was actually a joke where the Tick was underneath Jenica, and the rocks were like falling on top of the Tick's helmet and stuff, but they wanted them facing off. So I will have these I believe I'm going to hold them for Granite State. I only have 2 sets. They will not be cheap, but it is like the top secret crossover that not many people know about. So I did see your pile of books you got. You got some good stuff. You got good stuff though. You went for the price books, and I did not get to all the dollar bins, so like I will definitely go back at some point. Preferably a day when a certain person isn't working, but we'll do what we got to do. Oh, you ended up grabbing that one? Yeah, I'm sorry I missed you on the way out. I was running out to grab my sandwich. I'd hoped to see you before I left, but I hope the rest of the day was good with the misses. Hopefully you found a good place for lunch. Seems like my light source is over here, so we can have cast shadow like this. It was a great day. It was a free comic book day. Was great. You know, I was surprised. I had one graded comic that I brought with me, and it was a Turtles Universe one, and sold that, and that basically paid for the day. So anytime I do an appearance, I'm hoping that it pays for 1 month of a car payment, which is like 300 and some odd dollars, and this one almost did that. I think we fell just short of it, but did well, not by much. So if I mash that together with one of the other smaller appearances, it covers what I need it to for being a viable venture. I did have a call with the Iron Face guys. Nothing to announce as of yet, but there are talks happening. We got ourselves a spam. I wasn't sure if that person from the Philippines was spam or not, so I'm not going to label them as such. For light sources this way. I don't know. I mean, I think let me see if I have a copy here. Iron Face is I would describe it as like 80s core genre. Like the genre is like the zeitgeist of the 80s, the neon, the over the top. It was originally written by Dan Paul, who wrote these stories when he was a little kid. So they have a lot of kid logic in them. And there's like to me, when I read it, it was just so ridiculous. And like there was a Keystone Cops element to it and like an innocence to it. It was not nihilistic in any way. Um, there's the opening scene where it's though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Let us pray. And there's this quiet funeral scene with like this family and like a little kid and the priest, and he says, "Let us pray," and then his rosary is on top, and the rain is touching it, and then this giant fist just explodes out of this coffin, and then there's a little kid that just says, "That's not grandma," and that's obviously it's grandma's grave that Iron Face pops out of as his introduction, and then he grabs the tombstone and he throws it, and it impales uh, the priest, and he gets smooshed into the ground, and there's little things like little dinosaur bones underground and things like that. And no time for flowers is the tagline. So, and then it goes on, and it's just ridiculous, over the top, but still maintained its innocence, which is what I enjoyed about it. The police, he had, typos of like the police chief. He misspelled to chef, so he has a chef's hat on, stuff like that. I made up these fake ads that were based on real ads in the 80s. No sugar, how is it so good? It's scientific. Yeah, it's just, and like always, I dragged my friends in to help me out with covers and stuff. This was the Kickstarter. It did really well, and Joe St. Pierre did like this, and then there was also a chrome cover where the mask was chrome, and then John Lucas did it like an EC Comics illusion, and then Chris Campana did like the Craven the Last Hunt with Dash Martin doing the colors. So it's a ridiculous comic book. I can usually tell from about 50 paces when somebody is definitely going to be into it. They're wearing like a Pantera shirt or a Halloween shirt. And at comics, there's a lot of crossover with those fans. And I like the idea that there's, a light source of some kind. We don't really have any some bricks. Get ourselves some pens and some ink going. We're just having fun tonight. Iron Face is a specific type of comic, I would say. It's irreverent but yet innocent still. I don't know. It's got a very unique blend when it comes to that sort of thing. That's why I was drawn to it. It was not, like I said, there was no nihilism, there was no irony in it. It was just very straightforward in my own mind when I read it. And it has to do with the fact that DP wrote them when he was a kid. He streams over on Twitch, and he has a show called the Sour Kool-Aid Show where they've read these stories for years out loud. How many kids did I end up doing sketches for? I think I did about 10 nice sketches and a couple like quick ones, so probably about a dozen or so. Which to me, that's a nice day. I mean, there used to be a time where they would put me next to the free comics, and I would just be cranking stuff out all day. And I would say of the 10 good ones or the 10 ones that I spent time on, I would say that like 8 of them were pretty good. I wish I got a picture of the Nightwing that I drew for the one kid. And I'm not a big Nightwing guy, but I actually thought that it came out pretty well. Well, we're still talking. We have no announcements yet, but obviously, if something comes of it, I'll be It'll probably be on this show. It was one of the first places people would hear about it, so it did very well on Kickstarter, so I don't know if that's in our future, but we'll have to just see how things play out. I love the more flexible tip of these Tombow pens. I think it's become my favorite tool. So I'm able to treat it like a more functional brush for me. And I can move a little quicker, which makes the lines a little bit truer. I've actually been slowing down a little bit and I'm trying to do just solid good work, and just adding some thoughtfulness to my designs and things. Like I used to have a bag like this, so I know how it rips. So, I'm trying to add like that type of wear to it because he definitely didn't buy it new. There used to be a place when I was a kid. I don't know if it exists anymore, called Play It Again Sports, and it was a place that sold like secondhand sporting goods. I always thought that Casey had like one of those near where he set up shop, and he was buddies with the guy that ran it, and basically he knew when he was a minor league hockey player. It was part of that story I mentioned that like I pitched to IDW as like the one time I pitched them about writing and drawing something in the TMNT universe. And it was learning about Casey's life as a semi-pro athlete. It's Jay Kennedy. Thanks, dude. Yeah, this was one of the sketch covers I got from Rubber Chicken. I haven't read it yet. I should do that before I sell it. Danny Earls, most known for doing his like cities and crazy backgrounds. That's the interior artist. Do you have any other variants in the back in the gallery? Mike Henderson. Yeah. So what are you working on tonight, Jay? Did you have a good free comic book day, Jay? I think you were at the other New England Comics. Okay, he must be pouring himself another beer. Or he's at the Red Sox game. He's like standing at Game On or one of the bars that's right at Fenway Park. He's got on his little phone. He's got our stream playing. I didn't pick up any new comics, no. I did have them reserve a copy of the new Swamp Thing issue for me at one of the other stores, a part of their chain, actually at the Quincy store. So I'm going to have to make a trip up there, which I don't mind. It's a great store. Oh, wow, page 50. That's a lot of pages. "50 pages of anything is a big achievement, so congratulations." 'Hey, Jason, good to see you, man. How you doing?" If you've ever worn hockey gloves, you know how they fit, how they break down. Well, I don't see it as nothing. So most of the people that I know that crank out those quick web comics have a system of simplified art style. They'll have a Morgue file. There are people who trace off 3D figures. You know, there's all different systems for getting that stuff done, but you're doing it from scratch, so don't take the win. Yeah. Probably have to go in here and take out some of what you call it, the lettering. A new character every page. That's got to be tough to do. Dragging and dropping background. Yeah, we've all been there. Although I will say that I've been really enjoying drawing like the mundane stuff again. I'm enjoying drawing again more than I have in a long time. I've been really trying to work on my mental health and feel better about things and be nicer to myself. And in doing that, I found, you know, a renewed energy towards drawing and even like the mundane stuff of drawing. Like today, I just drew two people who were standing in a cafe, you know, for the hell of it. Yeah, rendering takes some practice, that's for sure. peel away some of the pencil lines here. Help us see a little better. Yeah, sorry, I don't have too much more to talk about for Free Comic Book Day. Undersea Hero update would just be that I packaged another 8, and those will be the last of the Ashcan editions to go out. I had a couple more people that I trying to reach out to that didn't answer their survey, and I'm not like connected to them on social media, so I did message them via email. So if you have not filled out the survey at this point or don't know, don't remember backing the Kickstarter, if you could please take a look at your email, check your spam folders. We're really in the home stretch on these, and I want to get it finished. I don't, it's been a couple of years since it first ended, so I don't know. Maybe somebody died that backed it. I have no idea. I've been able to track down and get a hold of most of the people through social media, but there's still a handful, I would say, left that, I'll do a post maybe. I don't know if I'm allowed to do a post because that would be, confidential that they backed it. Like, I don't know if I can name the people who backed it publicly. I think that would be a misuse of contact information. I don't want to get myself trouble. Or just personal information. I wouldn't post their contact information. It would just be. Is there a reason why you're going for speed over just doing it, the best you can? Because speaking as someone who was pigeonholed as a speed guy for a number of years, I can tell you that it does not necessarily garner the creative license that I had hoped it would for me. Or agency or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, 2 years is a long time, so I had at one point a widow of someone who had commissioned a drawing for me at San Diego reach out to me, and I remember the drawing vividly because it was a great idea, and it was the Tick and Silver Surfer surfing in space, and I, had a funny joke, and the widow contacted me and just said that how much that he loved the drawing and he looked at it every day, and it was a one of those moments that when like I really don't know how much what we do matters, that I try to think back to that. So it was really touching because there was no reason to reach out to me to tell me that, except that was part of her grieving. Have I ever used tone markers? I have. I'm just really crappy at them. I'm not very good at it. I'm better with paint and ink wash. And this is definitely old school Casey Jones. The new versions, they've always tried to make him younger or like more handsome or something. This guy's a bruiser. I actually know some people like Ken Lashley. He uses tone markers as his layout. So he'll rough it out in the tone marker and then he'll add the pen, kind of like how I use the side of the pencil to start mine with all those open spaces and stuff. Ken would actually use like a tone marker, and he didn't need to be precise at that point. So he would, like I said, chunk it out and then pick out his detail with pen as the second step. And if you don't know Ken Lashley's artwork, he's an incredible artist. Hockey gloves have like a straight, stiff thumb on one side. So when you draw that, you don't have to draw like you can't ever draw like a bent thumb with the hockey glove on. It's to keep your finger from getting broken from a slash or whatever. Bluetoothing character screenshots. Yeah, that's tough. Oh, lost our connection. Keep blipping out every now and again. It's probably my my internet. I paid the bill, I promise. As you can see, I'm using the darker areas to try to create this fluid volume that reacts to the light source. So that's really what I'm trying to do to render, is thinking about light source being up over here and like what creates space, what pushes things forward and back. These are all things that I'm thinking about as I'm picking out where to add my darker areas. One thing that I mentioned about a golf club, I don't play golf. I play mini golf, but that's about it. But one of the things you can do with Casey using a golf club is uh, the shaft of the club will bend considerably, so you can really exaggerate the motion. But we're just drawing him holding it, so it's just got a little bend to it. And it's exaggerated, like most of my drawings are. Thanks. That's the goal, is to show weight with just two options when you just have the paper and you just have the ink. So, when you don't have the ability to add the color or tonality or those mid-tones, it takes some planning to try to get that to work. I have an 01 here. Well, it's almost 9:30, so we're just gonna only get Casey done tonight, so spent too much time drawing, I guess. Surprised I've lasted this long tonight because I was definitely very tired coming home. There's a section of construction on my commute that adds anywhere from an extra half hour to 45 minutes to my commute every day, and it's just been wearing me out every single day. I'm not going to say where it is, but people who know, if you know, you know. Well, I hope everybody has a good rest of their week, and hope they have an excellent weekend. I hope they had a good free comic book day. Um, for all of us who celebrate. Sorry to that one person that I didn't watch any of those Netflix shows that they kept asking about. I've never seen any of the Mario movies, so if I offended Mario fandom in my non-participation in their feature films, I'm sorry. Hey, like I said, we were all spared the hate crime, war crime of me having to draw Sonic the Hedgehog on Free Comic Book Day. We did not have to see that. Another abomination was not bore out into the world. See, the thing is I can see it in my mind is that, after I'm dead, someone will bring one of those awful Sonic drawings to like Antiques Roadshow, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, this was kind of what he was known for, but not really." This terrible drawing of Sonic the Hedgehog. Anyway, all right, I think that's as far as we're gonna get tonight. So, thanks for everybody for hopping on board. I'll noodle away at this and post it when it's done. So have a good rest of your week and a good weekend. Good night, everybody.